All right. We are back for another week. We are back to review what just took place week 2 in the NFL. We had some action. We had some interesting action, that's for sure. So let's get into it. What is up, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome back to another edition of Meat on the 50. You know what it is. It is our review episode where we're talking about what just took place in the NFL in week 2. And man, oh man, NFL week 2 is now labeled the week of the injury because we'll go down the list, but there are a ton of devastating injuries. There are a ton of season-affecting injuries, and there are just a ton of injuries happening all throughout the NFL in week 2. So we got a lot to talk about, as you can see. So without further ado, let's start the show. Welcome back. Welcome back to another edition of Meat on the 50. You know what it is. You know what time it is. It is time for us to talk about week 2, right? And let's just jump right into it. So as always, joining me to break down the action that we saw in week 2, one of my best friends, one of my co-hosts. I'm Jacob Cutler, and he is none other than Mr. Brandon Sullivan. Brandon, how are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Just another good week of football, and I'm sure that you enjoyed it as well. I mean, there were ups and downs, but just a lot of entertaining football that we witnessed. So, just still stoked for football season to be back, and looking forward to getting into this review.
Yeah, definitely. I am excited to get into this review. We got a lot to talk about. It was a very interesting week, and I'll say this. If you checked out our picks episode, you would know that our morning was horrible. All three of us did not do good in the morning. But guess what? It's not how you start. It's how you finish, because we all picked up the slack in the afternoon and Sunday and Monday. So let's put how we did up on the screen. So for Brandon, 9-7, going 1-0 in his guaranteed victory, guaranteeing in back-to-back weeks that the San Francisco 49ers would get the W, and that's exactly what they did. Now, typical Brandon fashion, I will say, he was very nervous to start that game. They were not looking good. Brock was not looking good, but in typical Niner fashion, they had his back, at least in the regular season. They had his back, and they got the job done, making it now 12 consecutive regular season games, 12 consecutive victories going back to last season in the regular season. The Niners, best team in the NFL. No question about that. For myself, going 10-6, going 0-1, though, on the guaranteed victory, getting absolutely bamboozled on the Detroit Lions Seattle Seahawks game. I could not believe it. How could you do the Detroit Rollin' Motor City Lions like that? How could you do it? And then our special guest last week was Jordan. Yes, Jordan went 8-8, going 1-0 on his guaranteed victory, also guaranteeing that the Niners will get the job done, and that's exactly what they did. Overall for the season, that puts us at, for yourself, 18-14, 2-0 on your guaranteed victories. Looking good. For myself, 19-13, going 1-1 on my guaranteed victories. And then for our guest, going a combined 18-14, 1-1 on their guaranteed victories. Nice and easy. Let's wipe those bad boys off the screen and let's get into these games. We had 2 games on Monday night. Let's just talk about the games that happened. First, we had 2 games on Monday night, or last, I guess you could say. And we had the Saints, we had the Panthers, we had the Browns, the Dukies, I like to call them, and the Steelers. The biggest storyline coming out of last night was Nick Chubb's knee getting absolutely decimated on a tackle, now being out for the season, likely altering his entire career. Remember, the Browns do not have Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt is no longer on that team, so now they have to go with a bunch of backups. We'll see what happens. Deshaun Watson, again, did not really look good. The defense was definitely carrying them in that game. But yeah, the biggest story out of last night that I got was definitely Nick Chubb's injury. The Saints and the Panthers, 6-3 going into the third quarter. Brandon and I were texting. He texted me he wanted to know my thoughts on Derek Carr, and I simply texted him back 6-3 in the third quarter because, bro, you're supposed to be there. You're getting paid the big bills. You're getting paid the big bucks to score points and put those types of teams away. The Baker Mays the Atlanta Falcons, right? Desmond Ridder had no problem doing it. So for whatever reason, it doesn't make really much sense why the New Orleans Saints had such a hard time doing it. And then it basically came down to the wire. Just a throwaway game. Both of them kind of throwaway games. The Steelers pulling it out in the end in that Browns-Steelers game. Any thoughts at all on the morning games?
You mean the Monday night games?
Sorry. Any thoughts at all on the Monday night games?
Yeah. For the Monday night games, not really. I think that obviously with the Carolina and New Orleans game, it kind of went the way I thought it would. I just thought New Orleans was going to win the game, but Carolina kept it close, but it shouldn't have been. And I think it was just the, lackluster play of, as you mentioned, Derek Carr. He just kind of, I don't know what it is. The guy does not produce on offense. I would never question his character as a person, but it's just like his ability on the football field he just seems like a backup to me. So that's the way I look at it. Like a guy who's going to come in and somebody gets hurt and maybe he can put away the rest of the game, if you're up a touchdown or two. But I don't see him being that, obviously franchise quarterback. So really boring game. Didn't really finish it. I just kind of turned it off and then switched over to Pittsburgh and Cleveland and watched the last few drives. I think obviously Nick Chubb getting hurt definitely changed the momentum for Cleveland in that game. I definitely think that Cleveland probably would have won if there was a Nick Chubb there. You're taking away, I think, the best player on your entire team. Arguably.
Yeah, so, definitely.
With him being gone, Pittsburgh was able to squeak by Cleveland. Unfortunately, to me, it was a pass interference at the end of the game that wasn't called, but it's part of the game. But who knows what would have happened if, that would have been a catch. But Pittsburgh won the game. That's just a part of it. Penalties, things like that. That's part of it. So
Sure.
Give Pittsburgh credit. Pittsburgh wasn't as bad as I thought they were week one. So that kind of shows that the Niners are better than, that the Niners are actually really
True.
good. We were thinking, what is it? Is Pittsburgh really bad or is the Niners really good? I think that answers that question. So all in all, kind of a crappy selection for Monday Night Football games. I wasn't really intrigued, but we shall move on.
I like it. So, it's just kind of an interesting selection for those two Monday night games. However, I will tell you in week 3, we have another 2 Monday night game. I don't know why they're putting 2 games at the same time. Very stupid. But we have 2 good Monday night games for week 3. So, be on the lookout for that. But we're going to go all the way back to the start of our week, which would be Thursday in the NFL season, which means we had the Minnesota Vikings take on the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Eagles prevailed, but not how you wanted. Definitely not how you wanted. The Philadelphia Eagles were able to overtake the Vikings 34-28, but the Vikings made a very strong push towards the end of that game there. Again, I said it. I obviously I know it was week 1, but Justin Jefferson is not going to be a Minnesota Viking for very long. Congrats to him, 5,000 yards. I believe. Don't quote me, but I believe he was the fastest, if not the second fastest, next to Randy Moss, to get to that mark. So congratulations to him. Very impressive, especially with his quarterback. So, and good for Kirk. I mean, if Kirk's be able to sling this guy 5,000 yards, that's pretty impressive. So, good for him. Good for both of them. Good for that tandem. But Kirk, yeah, again, not able to do it in prime time. For whatever reason, he is not able to get the job done when the lights are on, the cameras are on, and everybody's watching. Captain Kirk's got to fix that. On the other end, the Eagles, just unimpressive. Just unimpressive. I was not impressed by their performance in the week 1. I was not, again, impressed by the performance in week 2. Yeah, they may be scoring points, but they're just not impressive performances. They're just, can't really take anything away other than, Devontae Smith finally looks to be breaking out of that shell and kind of coming into his own as kind of one of those, maybe possibly top receivers. Jalen Carter is a man amongst boys. He's going to be an animal, possibly the next Aaron Donald. I mean, no one's going to ever probably be. Well, there will probably be another Aaron Donald, but or someone similar, I would say. But Jalen Carter, wow, oh wow, very impressive. But that defense looks good. I mean, that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to get a defense to kind of cover up the offense when they falter, and that's what they did. AJ Brown getting frustrated by not getting enough catches and passes and throws his way. We'll see what happens there. But all in all, the Philadelphia Eagles the last 2 weeks have not really been that impressive, although they have been scoring points. So that's probably the only most impressive thing about them. What'd you take away? Anything from from Thursday?
I just think that Philly, kind of squeaked by. I mean, you're talking about 4 or 5 turnovers and you only won by 6 points. I mean, a win is a win, but come on now. I mean, you do that against, more than half the NFL, you're not winning that game. So I just think that, you caught some lucky breaks. You're at home. I mean, obviously, Philly's a good team. They went to the Super Bowl. I just think that they're not impressive to me so far through 2 weeks. That could change in week 3. That could change in week 4. But, Justin Jefferson fumbling out of the end zone to end the half was a big momentum swing.
Definitely.
Just fumbles left and right. It was
game.
Messy.
Yeah.
It was messy.
Yeah, it was very messy.
The Minnesota Vikings and Minnesota, they could potentially be 2-0 right now if they cleaned a couple of things up. So I think Minnesota is better than what their record is. And I think Philly is, not as good as what their record is, if that makes sense.
I like it. Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Pats played them tough in week 1, and the Vikings played them tough in week 2. And the Vikings, definitely dropping to 0-2. That is not what you want to see to start your season, especially in that wide open division. That division is wide open, so it's anybody's game. So we'll see what happens. Moving on to the morning games. What did we see in the morning? We saw the Falcons move on to 2-0. Yes, the Atlanta Falcons. Again, they're taking advantage of a weaker division. That's what they got to do. I mean, if they want to kind of slide in there under the radar, those are the games they have to win. That is the games they have to win against like Green Bay Packers, against the Panthers and stuff like that. That is what you have to do. But the Falcons getting the job done against the Packers. Jordan Love, though, night and day from a backup to a starter, night and day. So Jordan Love looked really good. Desmond Ridder looked really good. A lot of those guys in those games look really good. Romeo Doubs. I think there was like 3 or 4. I think it was 3 different, maybe 2. I think it was 2 or 3 Packers may have caught a touchdown. So Jordan Love definitely spreading out the ball and spreading the love. No pun intended. We saw the Raiders absolutely get butt slapped in Buffalo. I mean, absolutely destroyed. Jimmy looked good to start the game. I'll be honest, I did tweet as soon as after that touchdown that Jimmy is better than Derek Carr by a mile. I mean, it's just facts. Because, Derek Carr could never drive that team down first drive and get a touchdown. It can never happen. Jimmy can do it because Jimmy's a winner. He's just better. And then he just goes and gets doo-dooed on by the Buffalo Bills. Good job for Josh Allen, keeping the ball in, not turning it over. We'll see what happens. Bills got another test coming up this week. Bills got a tough schedule this year. but that's what they got to do. If they want to contend, they got to keep on winning. Then we saw, Joey and the boys just taking too long. Hey, let's halfway through the third quarter. Let's just start to play the game, boys. Yeah, let's just start to play. Yeah, our offense, let's just start clicking. And then on the last play that we play, I'm just going to restrain my calf. It's just unbelievable. You had some hope because the offense was clicking. We lost. Okay, fine, whatever. It's early on in the season. But at least our offense looked like we were finally getting it together. And then he re-aggravates his calf. So, where are we now? I don't know. We'll see. Does he play on Monday night? He would be sure as an 80% Joey is better than 100% Jake Browning. So I can't go 0-3. I need at least 1-2. We can definitely beat the doo-doo Rams, the Lambs on Monday this upcoming weekend. But yeah, going 0-2. Joey, for whatever reason, loves to start the season 0-2. He's now 1-7 in the first 2 games, and then 24 and 12-1 after. So, yeah, for whatever reason, Joey has a hard time in those first 2 weeks, and it's probably because he's never had a camp. So, go figure. The Seahawks, like I mentioned, just getting by the skin of their teeth thanks to a terrible no call, a terrible obvious holding penalty that wasn't called. Shams. Detroit Lions go to 1-1. Lions look good, though. I'll tell you that. Jared Goff, finally throws an interception after all this time, but Lions look good. And then, what did I tell you? The Titans. I told you. The Titans were going to do it because the Chargers were going to do something to charger it up, and that's exactly what they did. They let the Titans get it into overtime, and then the Titans handled business and got the job done. Chargers fall to 0-2, Titans 1-1, and then, right now the worst team in the NFL is the Chicago Bears. Justin Fields looks lost. His receivers look lost. DJ Moore, apparently he's just never going to get a decent quarterback. And then the Baker Mays, they look good. He's competing. He's competing out there. He's being a competitive quarterback. It's good to see. We'll see what happens. He's definitely in a vulnerable division. So 2-0 for the Tampa Bay Bucks. Just rolling on. And then we saw the Jacksonville Jaguars try and get revenge on the Kansas City Chiefs, and they could not get it done. A little bit of a scoregami game, 17-9. Close. They're right there. That could be the divisional round game, and the Jags could get over the hump. We never know. We could see what happens. But Jags couldn't get it done. Offense wasn't really doing anything. The defense held out for as long as they could, but obviously the Chiefs are going to get breakthrough at some point. It is what it is. And then we had the Toilet Bowl Colts and the Dumpster Fire Texans shoot it out in Houston, and the Colts dominated, even when Anthony Richardson went out after getting 2 rushing touchdowns. The Colts, again, in a weaker division, these teams that are in a weaker division have these chances to capitalize if they can take advantage. What did you get from the morning? What takeaways you got? What did you get from the Bengals? What did you get from the Lions? What did you get from the Bucks, the Bills? What do you got for us? Or you're muted. You're muted.
Sorry. Yeah, with the morning games, there wasn't a lot too much excitement for me. Obviously, my picks were way off, and I just couldn't believe obviously the Seattle and Detroit game, what it came down to. I had such high expectations for Detroit.
I know. Yeah.
And they just came out and played so differently. Like, their defense was kind of non-existent in a way. As far as what I was thinking it was going to be.
No, definitely. Definitely.
Give them credit for staying in the game. It's not like Seattle's, this amazing team. It just went to overtime, and, unfortunately, Detroit didn't have a chance, So, unfortunately, that's just the way it was. Tennessee and Los Angeles, I was surprised that Tennessee pulled it off. I know that you said that the Chargers were going to charger it up. I just thought, possibly what Justin Herbert was going to be able to pull this off and avoid going 0-2. But
I hear you.
crazy enough, they are 0-2. I don't know. The team just seems much better than 0-2, but we'll see. And then good for Baker. I mean, obviously going 2-0. Just having another solid game, and they could be potentially in the mix to win that division. So that's cool. He's kind of been through a lot in his career.
Yeah,
and,
definitely. That'd be wild.
And just to kind of see it kind of come full circle. I'd like to see
especially
them
how the Browns did it. Yeah, especially
Yeah,
how the
I'd
Browns
like to
did them. That'd be good.
Yeah, I'd like to. Yeah, how that went down. I'd like to see Baker do well. So,
Yeah.
I've kind of always been kind of on the fence with him, but yeah, after the way Cleveland did him, I'd say that. And then, going to that Raider Buffalo game, I thought the Raiders would keep it closer. I mean, they came out and they dominated on the first drive, and I was happy for Jimmy. But the defense kind of just non-existent, and then obviously Josh Jacobs non-existent. So
yeah,
when you can't get the run game going, it's hard to set up the play action. It's hard to set up the pass. You become one dimension, and Jimmy Garoppolo is a good quarterback, but he's not like Josh Allen. He's not like Patrick Mahomes. He's not like Justin Herbert. He's not like Joe Burrow. He needs a solid defense and some run and some, running to set up that play action. And if you don't have that, you see what happened. I mean, the same thing happened with the 49ers when games would be off like that. We weren't able to win. So,
yep.
But all in all, not much excitement for me in the morning. So, I guess the one game that was a little bit exciting was Atlanta Green Bay. I mean, it was just a lot of back and forth, but good for Atlanta. I mean, they're in a position I didn't expect them to be after 2 weeks. So
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And we'll see what happens. I mean, like you said, Baker, Atlanta, they have the chance to capitalize on this weaker division at this point. Because Derek Carr, we'll see what happens with him, but question marks. Bryce Young, definitely question marks. So the Falcons, question marks. The Bucks, everybody in that division, question marks. So that division is 1,000% up for grabs. So we'll see how the whole thing plays out. And I imagine it's going to get very interesting towards the end of the season. Let's move on to the afternoon games. We had 4 of them. We had the Niners doing what they always do in the regular season, which is dominate the Los Angeles the Rams, handling business in Levi South. Just started off slow. Ayuk getting injured and then coming back. Christian McCaffrey, CMC having a really good game. Debo having his breakout performance for the year. Just guys that you wanted to see getting going. Brock Purdy kind of had in a so-so game. Brandon and I were talking about it on Sunday. A lot of overthrows, which we haven't normally seen. He's normally pretty accurate with his deep ball. So a lot of overthrows that we weren't really used to. At this point, I'm just taking it as a 1 week thing. So we'll see what happens. I fully expect him to be right back to himself on Thursday when they take on the Giants. So I think the 49ers played a great game. I think that defense is ready to play. That defense is in playoff mode. They are in playoff mode. They're ready to go. So 12 straight wins going back to last year's regular season. They're on fire. We had the Giants almost get embarrassed in Arizona, and then they decide to do the embarrassing, pulling off a miraculous 21-point comeback. Absolutely ridiculous. The Cardinals, just could not get anything done. Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, who was hurt, but Saquon Barkley and crew, they got the job done. Giants could not go 0-2. They didn't go 0-2, sitting at 1-1. Cardinals 0-2. We had the Jets, who Zach Wilson is just god awful. Just god awful. And the coaches are terrified to run any play where he has the ball in his hands. They are petrified of giving this man the ball. The Jets, unless they trade for a quarterback, their season is donezo. Another high draft pick, probably Caleb Williams or another star defensive player. But the Jets could be done. Dallas doing what Dallas normally does, which is get people excited, and then they're eventually going to choke. So good job for the Dallas Cowboys. Good job for the Dallas defense. Good job for Dak. Good job for all those guys. We'll see you later on in the season. Then we had the Washington Commanders pull off another comeback. We had 2 comebacks in the afternoon against the Denver Donkeys. The Broncos starting off 0-2. Yes, Russell Wilson, Broncos, let's suck. That's what basically you're doing, because you're not it, bud. You're scoring points because you have a better coach, but you are not it. The Commanders get the job done on the road in a very, very impressive comeback, 2-0. We had 4 games. We had your Niners dominate like normal. We had 3 other somewhat interesting games. 2 of them were interesting. The other one was just a blowout. What do you got for us in the afternoon games?
Brock Purdy got to clean some stuff up there, but relatively solid game. I give him a B on that game, and overall performance for the Niners, I'll give them a B+. I think that they kept it was a little bit too close for comfort in that first half, but I think the game-changing drive there was when the 49ers drove down and scored at the end of the half to make it 17-17. Brock Purdy with a quarterback sneak, which was really solid. And to do that, that's a gutsy call with 1 second left at the 1 yard line. Yeah, 4th definitely down. Surprised you don't take the 3 there. But Sean McVay's record at home, or just in general at the half when he's up is like 80-1 or something like that. I think the Niners are the only team that's ever done it. So credit to Brock Purdy getting his first win against the Los Angeles Rams. Obviously that was the first time he faced them, so he was able to pull that off and keep his regular season win streak alive. So we saw good plays from Deebo Samuel, and we saw a lot more of Christian McCaffrey, who is in week 2, obviously in MVP talks, but it's still so early. But he is putting the team on his back, and obviously the defense holding the Rams to 6 points in the second half after the Rams scored 17 in the first. So kudos to the defense for stepping up and making those adjustments at halftime. Very happy for the 49ers, 2-0, and just got to keep that going. And then as far as the New York Giants and Arizona game, it didn't matter how far Arizona was in the lead. I just still felt like, when you're that bad of a team, your opponent is always within arm's reach. So New York Giants just kept chipping away, and eventually they came up with the win. So good for them. I did think they were going to win that game. Obviously, I didn't think it was going to be this close, but they needed to win the game, and when it mattered most, they did. So credit to them. And then obviously New York Jets, Dallas, don't have much to say about that. And then Washington Commanders, very surprising to go into Denver. Denver scored more than 10 points, 33 points. Washington Commanders, 2-0, 35 points on the road. 2-0, correct? They won last week, right?
Yep.
2-0 for Washington Commanders. Good for them. I thought that they'd be a sneaky team this year. I thought that, they potentially could make the playoffs. But there's still a long season to go. But definitely surprising to see Denver with Sean Payton 0-2. But I'm happy about it. I can't stand Russell Wilson. So Broncos country, let's suck.
Definitely, yeah. We'll see what happens with Denver. I mean, let's see if they can get it together. You know, it is a long season. Sean Payton does know what he's doing. Russ is a veteran quarterback. So let's see what happens. But that division, you can't be dropping games in that division. That division should be competitive. Should is the key word there. Should be competitive. So we'll see what happens. Denver Broncos got to get some answers. New York Jets have got to get some answers. The Arizona Cardinals definitely need some answers. And we'll see what happens. Niners, Giants, Cowboys, and Commanders all handling business in the afternoon. Our last game that we need to talk about was on Sunday, and it was a game. They say football is a game of inches, and man, oh man, was Sunday night no truer to those words than what we saw. Game of inches, and that is exactly what it came down to. The Patriots mounting a comeback, marching the ball down the field, fourth down, get the ball to Mike Gesicki. He pitches it back. He throws it back. I think a lineman catches it. He pushes forward and falls, an inch and a half, a centimeter, just basically the nub of the football away from the first down marker, ending the Patriots' hopes of a comeback, ending the game, and sending the Dolphins to 2-0. Definitely was not week one in terms of the highlight action. A lot more defensive play because with the Patriots look good on defense. I mean, Mac Jones is only going to take you as far, but the Pats definitely do look good on defense. Able to stick in these games, stay in these games, have a chance. So we'll see what happens. But the Dolphins moving on to 2-0. Mike McDaniel, definitely one of the funniest coaches in the league at this certain moment. I don't know if you saw his halftime interview where he sprinted away from the cameraman, but absolutely hilarious. If you have not, definitely check that out. But your thoughts on the Miami Dolphins, your thoughts on the New England Patriots?
Yeah, pretty good game in general. It kind of went as I thought it would. I just don't believe in mayonnaise Mac Jones, and I never will. And they were this close. But that's what happens when you draft Mac Jones. So 24-17. Shouts out to Miami Dolphins, Mike McDaniel, former offensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. Also, obviously, love me some Raheem Mostert. So glad that they have them.
Ballin'.
So obviously, I've always liked Tua Tagovailoa. You know that when he was at Alabama, you didn't like him. You were on Jalen Hurts, as you know what, and I liked Tua. So shouts out to Tua. When this dude is healthy and they can protect him, Dolphins are a force to be reckoned with. So I think that they're gonna surprise some people this year because I think they are. There's a good chance they're gonna win that division. I know it's still early, but I just have this feeling, and they're a very good team. So it's always big when a team and you can it's hard for those divisional opponents to go into New England and win. So Miami doing that like it was nothing. But yeah, down at the end of the game, that was a cool play. I was actually hoping it was a first down because it would have been interesting, but it's
definitely.
It was the right thing to do. It was short. I mean, if you looked on the camera, it was the right thing to do. So
yep.
Just all in all, Miami's looking really good.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. We'll see what happens. The Miami Dolphins, with Aaron Rodgers definitely getting injured, that definitely almost eliminates one team out of playoff contention. I'm not going to say that it fully eliminates them because you never know what's going to happen. But the New York Jets, I don't see making the playoffs at this point. Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. Those are kind of the two teams that I see now as the head honchos of that division. We'll see what happens. And like you said, if they can protect Tua, Dolphins are a force to be reckoned with. You can't. They have speed. Speed's gonna beat strength any day of the week. So we'll see what happens. And then lastly, like I mentioned in the beginning, week 2 is now known as the week of injuries because man, oh man, were there a lot of them. Let's look at these because there are quite a few. Deontay Johnson on IR. Budda Baker is going to miss the next 4 games. Jalen Waddle in concussion protocol. Amari Cooper suffered a groin injury. Saquon Barkley is going to be out for 3 weeks. Joey B re-injured his calf. We had Anthony Richardson get knocked out for a concussion. We had Devontae Adams basically being evaluated for a concussion. You had Odell Beckham Jr., who, of course, I mean, no offense to Odell, great player, great receiver, but it was a matter of when, I guess. Ankle injury. We had, who else? David Montgomery is going to be out for 3 weeks, I believe. We had, let's see, Logan Thomas out with a concussion, and so many more. Week 2, week of the injury, but that will do it for this edition of Meat on the 50. It is our week 2 review, and week 2 review is now in the rearview mirror, and we are moving on to week 3. And man, oh man, do we have some good action for you. But as always, Brandon and I want to thank you for taking the time, for checking us out, for watching our videos, for tuning in, and just listen to what we have to say, for hearing our thoughts, analysis, picks, all that good stuff. Brandon, any last words for the people?
Yeah, just hoping that week 3, far less injuries. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And that's, I think, all that needs to be said. Yeah, we don't want any more injuries. It's week 2. We got 15 more weeks to go, or we got 16 more weeks to go. So please stay healthy so we can keep the product as good as possible. If at any point during this video you like what you see, do us a favor and smash that like button, tap on that bell notification, and just anytime new videos drop, you're right there. You're right there just to see what's going. And of course, yeah, I just also tap on that like button, and just do us a favor, help us out, grow our channel, because we are growing. I am your host, Jacob Cutler. That is one of my best friends, Brendan Sullivan. And until our picks episode, Brandon and Jake, we're out.